What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you don't miss any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now, for this video, we're going to be jumping into Green Lantern, issue number 2. Now, this is part of the Infinite Frontier line that is currently going on. And if you haven't been keeping up with that, go ahead and check out the link in my description, as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you completely caught up on everything that's been going on with the Infinite Frontier. Now, this is written by Jeffrey Thorne. Pencils are Marco Santucci and Dexter Soy. Now, in the last issue, we saw a Guardian of the Universe die. And so right now, the universe is currently teetering on the brink of war. And as the summit of the United Planets and the Green Lantern Corps fall into chaos, an even bigger threat looms above their heads. Now, with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so as we jump into issue number 2, John Stewart, he's sending out a message. He's sending out a message to all Green Lanterns. As the Corps leader, it falls on him to give the unpleasant news. You know, many of the Lanterns, they already know small details of what happened because they were on Oa. But there are many still out in sectors, still patrolling, that have no clue what has happened. And so this is where he starts to break it down point by point. And he lets us know that 10 hours ago, Oa, it had been accepted into the United Planets. And that's when they suffered a terrorist attack. Now, during this attack, several Lanterns, they died protecting Oa and rescuing civilians. Now, for the time being, Oa is currently safe. And the overall loss of life, it was kept to a minimum considering the circumstances. Now, as for all the terrorists that started this, they've all been locked up and they're all waiting interrogation. And this is when he lets them know that all of the rings are going to get a hyperburst data loads, kind of detailing the terrorists, their origins, and what their goals were. So all of the Lanterns need to study this and lock it in, because he believes that these guys aren't going anywhere. And this is what brings us to his second point. Now, they were able to shut down this primary attack and apprehend those they thought to be the ringleaders of this operation. But there was a second attack. And in that second attack, now this is when we saw one of the Guardians die. But that's not all that happened, because when the Guardian was struck down, the assassin, he had an accomplice. And this is when we see a giant dragon, and the Green Lanterns were having to battle this thing. But the only issue is its hide was made of magic. So nothing that they were using, at least Green Lantern ring wise, was penetrating it. Now, as this fight's going on, our new Green Lantern with her gauntlet, Kelly, she wants to help. She sees everybody fighting this thing and believes that she could be of some use. But Gardner, he tells her, like, you're not ready for this. You need to just stay out of the way right now and let us handle this. And this is where Gardner and Kilowog and some other Lanterns, they get an idea. They get an idea to use rocks because, you know, the Green Lantern rings may not be working on this thing, but good old-fashioned rocks are definitely doing the trick. And so they essentially encapsulate the dragon in rocks to where it can't move out of it. So more or less, the Honor Guard took care of this situation. And so that brings us to where we are right now. You know, right now, Oa is now a member of the United Planets, and the Corps is going to be reconstructed to fit into that. Now, none of the Lanterns, they really know what that means. And the Guardians, right now, they're discussing exactly what it does mean for the Green Lantern Corps. And he tells everybody, you know, if you're still out in sector, continue patrolling those sectors. But for everybody else, we have a funeral to go to, because today, a Guardian died. And this is where we see the burial of one of the Guardians. And they're having a giant ceremony. And one of the Guardians gives a really unique speech. You know, talking about how mammals and all the sentient beings, they kind of have rituals for death. And so does Oa. So do the Guardians. And this is where we see the Guardian who fell, his coffin brought up to the power battery. And he is put inside of it, repurposing his energy for the greater purpose of the universe. Now, this is where we see our Guardian address all of the Green Lanterns. And lets all the Lanterns know, despite the effort of these terrorists, we've still been accepted into the United Planets. And while there is a lot of uneasiness happening right now, we still need to continue what we're doing. But the issue is, the Green Lantern Corps Oa itself has a tremendous amount of power, and we have a extremely wide reach. And so the United Planets want them to be able to stand equally with other worlds. And so the Guardians they're kind of giving up some power. They're scaling back their scope. And to this end, 1,200 sectors are going to be vacated. Their jurisdiction is going to secede to United Planets brigades. All previous core hierarchies are going to be erased and replaced with new missions and objectives and designations. All Green Lanterns without a sector are being reassigned. And this is when all of the Green Lanterns and the rings start getting new assignments. Everybody's going on new locations. Be it Outrider, be it Quest, everyone is going somewhere. And our Guardian continues on, letting us know that the modified duty parameters will download into the rings. 2,400 sectors are now remaining. There's no more honor guard, there's no more torchbearers, none of that. Everybody is one core now. No one is greater, no one is lesser than. And then the Guardians just take off. They leave and don't say another word. And all of our Green Lanterns, they're left here just thinking like, what the heck just happened? You know, nobody is happy about this situation. They literally just got dumped on by the Guardians. Now, John Stewart, he's not going to let this slide by. He's not going to let them just go off so easily after dumping all of this information on them. And so he flies up there and he talks to the Guardians and lets them know, like, what the hell was that, guys? You know, and they're Guardians. For them, getting straight to the point, telling people exactly what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, that's their whole forte. And John tells them, you know, you guys could have handled that better. You could have done it in a more proper way instead of dropping a nuke on everybody. You know, these people have lives that they abandoned to serve the Corps. And while, yes, this is a voluntary Corps, they're still people with families and relationships, and we need to try to respect that in some kind of way or shape or form. And he asked the Guardians, you know, what if half the Green Lantern Corps decides they don't want to do this? Decides that this is too much of a change too quickly. And the Guardians' response is, well, the rings will find somebody else. We can easily have them replaced with somebody else in the galaxy, within the universe. And he continues on, you know, not only is all of this going on, but they are spreading the human lanterns all over the galaxy. But they let him know that the Crux worlds, they require permanent defenses. They are the best candidates. Earth's lanterns are the best candidates. And this is where John Stewart, he asked them, you know, why are Earth's Green Lanterns so important? Especially all of a sudden. And the Guardians let him know, you know, did you never wonder why, of all the planets in the galaxy, only yours has produced 7 Green Lanterns in the span of a single human lifetime? Or why they chose Oa as their home? And John starts to piece it together a little bit. He's recognizing that it's all connected, but it's more than that. They're vital. Every universe has 7 Crux worlds. Planets where wonders happen to spur growth and evolution and preserve the life of that cosmos. Earth is the crux of heroes. When the current pantheon of the new gods fades away, Earth will become the so-called 5th world. Now, up to this point, the Guardians, they have failed to protect 2 of these worlds, so there's only 5 worlds left right now. One of those worlds being destroyed being Krypton. And so Earth generated the necessary heroes to protect the remaining worlds. And the fellow Earth Lanterns are those protectors. But this is when he questions, you know, Guy Gardner and him, they didn't get any kind of assignment. But they let him know that Gardner's fate, it doesn't lie within this. And John Stewart's duties, they lie elsewhere. They lie in the dark sector, regions beyond known space, and the Promethean galaxies, into which they currently cannot see. Something is preventing them from being able to look in. By the threads of hypertime, eruptions from that bleed under space cyclones. But they do know that these barriers, they're artificial. And so they want him to go investigate and figure out what exactly is going on. Now, John Stewart, he's a little concerned, man. Like, that's a lot of territory to try to cover on your own. But John Stewart, he's not going at this alone. And this is when they step outside and they see hundreds of Green Lanterns. And they tell John Stewart, they know it would be impossible for any single lantern to breach the barriers around the dark sector. Not even 100 working in tandem could be able to break through. They're gonna need a vessel to navigate the barrier and to house the 1,000 lanterns who will be accompanying him on his quest. Now you heard that right, 1,000 lanterns. And we see all of these lanterns use their rings and create a giant ship that is going to house them across their trek in space to the dark sector. And so John Stewart, he accepts it. He accepts the position of quest leader. Now this is where we pick up on Oa 1 hour ago. Now John Stewart, he's sitting here talking to Kelly, and they're having a relatively normal conversation. She's a kid who wants to be able to be a Green Lantern, but now everything's being reconstructed and she no longer has that option available to her, at least not to be taught by John Stewart. But John Stewart lets her know, that he has to go off and do this. This is part of what they do. This is their job. They go out and they protect people day after day. And while she's strong and she can definitely hold her own, she's not a Green Lantern yet. And she needs to learn how to be a Green Lantern before she can join the ranks. And so John Stewart leaves her in the hands of Simon, and he takes off to this giant ship that they constructed. And just like that, the 1,000 Green Lanterns, they're off. They're already on the other side of the galaxy thanks to hyperspace. Around the same time they take off, Kelly looks up at the power battery and something is wrong with it. She recognizes something's off and she mentions it to Simon, but before he can even turn around to look at it, the power battery literally freaking explodes. We see a giant explosion and it looks like it completely devastates Oa. Now this is seen around the universe. From the vanishing point all the way to Warworld, the Green Lanterns have just took a devastating hit. And that's what picks us up in present day. And we have our Green Lantern coming into the system, coming into Oa. Now her ring, it's not detecting anything. It's not finding anybody. It's saying that there are 0 Green Lanterns within the vicinity. None on this planet, none on Oa. But that's when our Green Lantern goes searching around for something, for somebody. Some kind of answers to what just happened here. And as she's making her way through the planet, she runs into a giant green bubble. Coming up to this bubble, she knocks on it, asking to come inside. And this is where we see Kelly. She used the power of her gauntlet to be able to shield Simon, who looks to be unconscious and severely wounded. And as Kelly looks up, she sees Green Lantern Joe, the Green Lantern from Far Sector. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Personally, I have been very excited and very happy with how they've been doing this Green Lantern line so far. Now there are a ton of questions to be answered. One of them starting with how Kelly's gauntlet is powered. Is it, it's kind of like a prototype, kind of like what Alan Scott had, but in a different way. And I think it's going to play a big part and kind of reigniting the main battery. But yeah, so overall I have to say this has been a fantastic line. I love everything about it so far. The artwork is absolutely fantastic and the writing is on point. And it's really building a fun and awesome Green Lantern story that's sending our Green Lanterns all over space, which opens up a ton of different possibilities on what we can get. Now I will say they have been lacking some Kyle Rayner. No, we do know that he's out in Sector right now, but I'm really hoping that we do end up winding with a story that has something to do with Kyle Rayner. There is a Guy Gardner story out there from Future State, which is actually pretty interesting as well. It's a lot of fun, I think. But a lot of this is dealing with Green Lanterns losing their power and having to be able to patrol the universe without their power rings. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor and hit that sub button. Hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the content we have coming out, and until the next video.